Dane, did you happen to watch the Netflix doc of Untold Malice at the Palace?
I did. There was one on Showtime, I think, too, and I wanted to
Oh,
watch that to do a comparison. I mean, obviously, it's not a competition or anything like that, Netflix and Showtime, but still,
right.
the product itself of misunderstood players is something that I gravitated towards a lot. But yeah, this was a lot. This was a lot, and then of course it brings back memories because it was one of the first things we talked about on this here podcast was the
Yeah.
Malice at the Palace
Very
and
episode 1.
yeah,
Wow.
other
Good
brawls
job,
and
Dane.
things like that. Yeah, I got you, man. Call back. I got you, man. Marvel, you ain't the only one, baby. I got it. So we cover this in great detail, and obviously, based on the interviews and the other footage that we were exposed to from the documentary from Netflix, we got some more perspectives, and everything was a few loose ends were tied up. But for me, I just wasn't really satisfied. I would have liked to see because we heard from police officers, we heard from the facilities managers, we heard from security guards, we heard from fans, we heard from the actual players. But I wanted to hear we heard from a referee, an official.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hear from
Tim Donahue. Dang. He was the one that particular ref was the one that got in trouble because he was betting on the games on the NBA.
So
game.
He's already outcast.
His last name.
He's already outcast.
And when he popped up, I was like, "What the? They got him." But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No, you good. This is good TV. But I would have loved to hear from interviews from the announcers, the color commentators that were actually calling the game. I would have loved to hear from some of the coaches. We got a few glimpses of Coach Carlisle, or should I say Jim Carrey, because that's exactly who that fool looked like. Like back in the day.
Even more so now.
So I would have loved to hear from him, obviously. I know it probably would have been crossing the line, but they made mention, I think, they definitely made mention about Ron Artest's psychiatrist that used to travel with them. So that would have been interesting to hear about. Obviously, couldn't have gone into too much detail because of, the client privilege that he had, but just more perspective. And I know it was just 1 hour and a few minutes, but maybe it's just, I'm asking for too much, but it was a lot. It was a lot, but it's not really new information. We knew who the agitators were in the whole situation, the fans, of course, but looking at that and what we, of course, what we still have seen in NBA games of fans taking it too far and going too far. And the unfortunate thing for them is there's a lot more prevention and security from the NBA players from doing the same thing that they did previously, and that's going up in the stands and beating their ass. Because we've seen countless times over this just the past year of players getting popcorn thrown on them, beer thrown on them, spat on, shoes thrown at them. Like that, there's no place for that. This is not even coming from just a fan talking to, or a fan in the relationship with an athlete. This is talking about the relationship between a person and a person. You as a person have no business spitting on anybody, throwing a drink on somebody, or throwing food on them without possibly or improperly getting your ass beat. Like there's no room for that. If you have a dispute or a situation or an issue with an individual, take it up with that individual. But they are there to fulfill their wildest dreams that they had. They are not there for you to treat them like they're animals at a zoo. And that's the issue that I had with reliving those memories from watching that documentary. Like that's what pissed me off.
Right on the head. Like I was just gonna say, like especially these last few years, like you mentioned, like a lot of these fans have gotten hidey in their mighty and like privileged, thinking, hey, I pay money, I can do whatever the hell I want, acting like they're at a damn zoo. And like, I'm so glad like players like Russell Westbrook for sure doesn't take it. A lot of other players have spoken out about these things that are going on, and it shouldn't, like incidents like we saw with the Malice at the Palace in 2004. That was 2004. We're in 2021, and you know what I'm saying? We're seeing this still
with no ass kickings given out.
Right. And, the NBA has gone to ban these fans or whatever, but like, I'm like, this is, and don't correct me if I'm wrong, fans, like, or people that listen to the pod, like maybe these fans have gotten some kind of legal action towards them. I don't know, but
It's possible.
The ban from the arenas is not enough. Like, this is like
Nah,
assault. Like, these dudes
nah.
are there doing their dang job, and for y'all to act like y'all own these players, and I'll say it, like acting like you want to do whatever
Here's
you want in this particular place is not right, man.
here's the thing: if a regular person pulls up on a state senator or pulls up on the
Oh,
local town sheriff and pours water on them or spits on them, you better be you will be
get
you
that
will
guy.
yeah, I will be shocked if nothing happened to them either physically or legally.
Yeah,
It shouldn't matter what your title is. If you spit on somebody, that's for me. That's the ultimate. It's the ultimate level of disrespect. You spitting on somebody that's you going from 0 to 2,000. Like that. I'm sorry. There's no other way I could put it into words. One of the most disrespectful things you can do to somebody is spit on them, and we've seen that over and time again. But man, you as a fan, whether you're a season ticket holder or you sitting in the nosebleeds, you purchased a ticket for the purposes of viewing a spectacle in which we can only dream of having that athleticism. You're purchasing the opportunity to see that in person. You're not purchasing to get to do whatever you think is okay in your mind to that particular person, because that's just ain't cool. But obviously, a lot of people just weren't raised right, because anybody knows, if whatever action you have, there is a consequence to it. And from I can't speak for where everybody else is from, but for where we from, you do unto
that ain't
others.
flying.
Yeah, you ain't no, that ain't happening. You do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So if you want to get punched in the face, you go right ahead and try to spit on them, because that's exactly what's going to
That's
happen.
exactly what happened. Yeah,
But
but back to the doc, man. One thing that you were kind of saying you wanted more of, and I was kind of thinking about it. Jermaine O'Neal was like, I kind of wanted to go more into his story, and of course you can, but it would be cool to kind of see how this affect. Like, they mentioned how it affected
man,
the rest of his career, but I kind of would have liked to see how the trajectory of his career went down, because obviously that Pacers team, Reggie Miller's last year, was,
that
one of
was
the
the
best teams
year.
in the NBA. That was the
Yeah,
year. You know what I'm saying? And when that incident happened, that was the end of it. Like, literally, Ron was gone for the rest of the year. Then he went to the Lakers, right, and ended up winning a ring.
excuse me.
Steven Jackson, I think Steven Jackson was still there, but basically the core, Reggie Miller retired. Like, what they had in place right there at that moment was gone.
Dominant,
And then, Jermaine
dominant.
O'Neal, like, you could see through his interview, he never recovered. Like, he still
Nope,
feels some type of way about the situation. And so maybe we could get a Jermaine O'Neal documentary just about, I mean, I know we got
man.
his story, but like, that would have been something to kind of dive into more, man.
Here's
Like,
the here's the thing.
after that situation.
When that went down, well, I was in what, I think eighth, was it eighth grade? Wait, or maybe seventh or eighth grade?
Uh,
Eighth,
yeah, eighth grade.
eighth grade. I
Yep.
not to say I hope that would have happened, but I wish I was older at that point, so I can not only understand just how the peak of where Jermaine O'Neal was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
just so I can
yeah.
conceptualize. Because when I was, back then, LeBron, Melo, Kobe, Shaq, like that's where my head was at. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
literally all my household, and that in Spurs games. That's where my head was at. But if I could conceptualize like I can now, because obviously more access and more exposure to teams, nationwide, regardless of what,
Right,
when my team I stand, Lakers, but to conceptualize and just have that appreciation for what he could have possibly become.
right.
Because my memory is just very vivid. I just remember, being a big and just being a rim protector, and it's just like he's obviously so much more than that. And
Yeah,
the players, not just random players, not no bench guys. These are all time greats saying that his potential was he hadn't even scraped it yet. So just I felt for him a lot watching that documentary, even more so than I did before I watched the documentary, because like anybody who's seen it, it felt like he got robbed from not only the opportunity for millions of dollars, but just the potential of being the best basketball player he could have been. So
right.
That was from the emotional side for him. I felt that for him, and it circled back to where all this everything would have been fine. Like Reggie said, everything would have been fine until that bozo. And what pisses me off about it, dude's laughing about it.
Yeah,
the dude
when they
like
interviewed
laugh
him,
like I'm like man.
That's how you know he got too comfortable, man. Got too comfortable.
Laughing about it, you legit ruined careers of countless people. Because who's to say if that Pacers team wins, Rick Carlisle is even a better, coach than what he is now, and he might not even come to the Mavericks. Like, who's to say that even happens? And that
and now he's back with the Pacers in real time, so it's crazy. It's full circle.
Yeah. And then it's just there was a lot to unpack in that particular documentary, and one of the things that just kind of brought me back to again was just remembering and realizing just the role that mental health plays, and just acknowledging it, because Ron Artest was not in a good place, and although he was seeking help actively, he still had some things going on with him that he just wasn't. His mind just was not right, and for someone to be that talented, to have the money that he had, just lets you know that just because the fame, the fortune, it's not the end all be all, because he was still going through it.
Yeah. And I think he kind of mentioned it in the pod that he was kind of like, nowadays he kind of wish he had, afterwards, the fallout and everything, he would have made different decisions, which is growth, and, being mature about the situation now is kind of good to see from him.
He's hard. He was hard on himself, bro.
Yeah.
Even after he won the ship
Jermaine
with the Lakers,
still, Jermaine was still kind of.
He was definitely still pissed because he felt like he broke up the court, and like he uses the same words that Ron Artest described himself. Well, Meta World Peace at the time described himself.
Yeah,
I felt like a coward, and that's for him to carry that weight. He said that when Lakers won that in 2005. Was it 2000? No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So many of those championships.
Pistons won that 2004. Whatever, dude. I think it
was. They beat our ass. They choked us out, man. I try to forget that year. Just to have to carry that, to feel like you have to carry that, or knowingly have to carry that, especially someone who has their own challenges when it comes to his mental health, for him to believe that he's a coward because of that is just, man, that's heavy, bro. That is heavy. But hopefully he got some sort of relief or some sort of peace about it, just talking about it again. I don't know what it's going to take for him to be able to move on, or if he's already moved on, but hopefully he finds peace in this situation. But Jermaine O'Neal especially, it's like, man, bro, what can we do? What can we do?
Man, definitely check out this documentary if you haven't already. It is on Netflix, Untold series. It's actually a series of sports docs. I haven't checked out whatever the second one's about, but this first one's about Malice at the Palace. Check it out if you get the chance.